There are thousands of accessories on Roblox, and many would say that accessories make up a large appeal of the website. But among those, there are some that users would say are a lot better looking than others. Some common choices may be the Dominuses, or maybe the Domino Crowns. For this video, we're taking a change of pace and looking at what I think are the top 10 best looking or most beautiful items on Roblox. Now of course, this is just my opinion, so if you don't agree with it, that's good for you. So tell me in the comments if you like any of these items as much as I do. At the number 10 spot, we have the legendary Chronoboss. Now this may be sort of a controversial pick for the first on this list, but you sort of see why once I show in game. It is just awesome, and it's definitely my pick for the 10th best looking and most beautiful item on Roblox. The Chronoboss was released on January 5th of 2012 at the very low quantity of 250. So only 250 of these were originally sold at 1,000 Robux. This resulted in sort of raising today, and it's sitting around like 10,000 value, but sadly it's not that good of an item, which I think is just very sad because it is definitely an awesome item. In game, you can of course see it a lot clearer, and it looks very awesome. On the front, you have this sort of tannish colored face mask, sort of looks like a skull. And then on the back, you have these awesome horn things sticking out of the side. And then of course, there's this sort of red fleshy stuff on the back, which just adds awesomeness to it. Next up, we have the Kraken. Now the Kraken was created on March 4th of 2010, making it a fairly older item. But in this case, this item is definitely beautiful and is currently on sale for the low price of 202 Robux. So compared to the last item, the Chronoboss, I'd say this is an item you should definitely pick up if you have the extra Robux. When worn in game, you can see its excellent features more clearly. It has beautiful white teeth that stick out just the right amount, and then on the back it has awesome scales forming a sort of mohawk. Picking the next item was a bit harder, but I had to go with an item from the awesome Vlad series. Now if you don't realize, the Vlad series are a series of items that used to come out every Halloween for about 300 Robux in a Halloween gift. As you can see, I'm highlighting the gifts on the screen now. So of all of these amazing looking items, I had to choose one. Thus my pick goes to the October 2011 Vlad the Impaler 6. This is of course not actually the 6th Vlad the Impaler, it's actually the 2nd Vlad the Impaler, but it's definitely an awesome item, and I just think it looks beautiful. I'd say it looks slightly beautiful than any other Vlad in the series, but they are all absolutely amazing looking items, so it was difficult to pick this. Now I had to pick this item for my 8th spot because I think it just takes the awesome look of this sort of old man Jenkins and just amplifies it by 1,000. It has such crisp green skin with such a nice pointy nose. You can even see the nostrils. That's some attention to detail there. And then the best part of it all, it has a very smooth, awesome looking receding hairline. I think this just takes the old man look to the next level. Now my next pick takes us back to the lowly time of 2009, December 18th to be exact. Now I started playing in Roblox in 2011, so this was a little bit before my time. But even when this item was released, even though I wasn't playing back then, I just felt a sort of surge in my body, my little baby body, in December 18th of 2009 to this item's existence. And as soon as I joined Roblox, I just knew this item existed and I had to have it. But sadly it's off sale, so I can never fulfill my dreams. This item is of course the Spawn Killer. Now the Spawn Killer was really originally on sale for a sort of lowerish price, but sadly it is currently off sale and shows no sign of ever going back on sale. So if you're one of the few people who actually own this amazing looking item, then good riddance to you, because this thing is awesome. You are very lucky. When worn in game, you can see it is this awesome looking demon head with awesome horns on the top, but sadly wearing an actual head with it sort of ruins the look. So if you want to make this the best looking, you're going to have the headless head. Putting on the headless head, you can see it looks 50 times better. And as you can sort of see, it has this sort of brownish black demonic skin color with amazing red glowing eyes, perfectly picks the sort of demonic look it's going for. Sadly, this item would be a lot higher on my list. I think it is one of the most beautiful items in Roblox. But there's one thing that kills it, and that's the back. I have no idea what they went for the back, but it makes it sort of look like it's the plastered head that you'd like find on the wall of a old country store in the middle of nowhere, you know, like a deer head or something. For our next spot, we start to get into the really beautiful items, and we start with the zombie pumpkin. Again, probably one of the most beautiful items on Roblox. And this one only costs 200 Robux, being a pretty good steal for how good it looks. Of course, the zombie pumpkin really shines in game, looking amazing. Sort of similar to those sinister pumpkin items, which you can go ahead and look up here. The sinister pumpkins, which are all some of the most beloved items in Roblox. And this is only 200 Robux, being a good steal to the actual sinister Robux pumpkins. Now, one of the first things you may notice about this item is its amazing large eyes. They really bring out the item. It has beautiful orange pupils, and then below that it has a great big smile. This just makes it, again, one of my favorite items in Roblox, and one of my opinions for the best items on Roblox. And that's why it takes this spot. Now we move up to the number 5 spot, to the Hexif the Horrible, an actually very good item to buy because it's only 97 Robux. Now, Hexif is another fairly older item created in 2010, but this spares no expense as it's a very good looking item that I'd say is honestly very ahead of its time. Just look at this great texture work here. This is something that you never saw in 2010. Now, worn in game, Hexif the Horrible looks 20 times better. If you look towards the top, it has 3 large eyes on the left and 3 large eyes on the right, for a total of 6 eyes, the more to see with. And then on the bottom, it has this great big mouth, which just makes it a lot easier to eat, which is something you always want. Now let's get down to the texture. That's the main portion of this. Look towards the top, it has a sort of very nice scaly texture, very high definition. And then towards the bottom and the snout part, it has a sort of lighter, sort of gloomier, more mixed texture. Still very nice looking. And then once you get down to the neck, it gets a lot darker, but still very detailed. All in all, this item is just very much ahead of its time, and I think most of you would probably agree. Again, just look at how nicely textured it is. And again, at only 97 Robux, this is just a steal. Why not buy it? Our next pick is one of the more recent items on this list, only made on September 28th of 2016, so just 2 years ago, and this is the Pumpkin Creep. Now, it sits at the modest price of 250 Robux, which I again think is a very good steal for how awesome this item looks. Now, if you go ahead and look at it on the 3D view here, it may not look as good as it does in game, so that we're going to explore. Now, first of all, I have to say this is one fabulous pumpkin. At the front, it has this sort of awesome looking modest smile, very nicely carved, and overall just makes the pumpkin look that much more epic. Then if you look towards the top, it has these sort of banana peels for hair, which just overall, wait, are these banana peels, like, they kind of look like leeks to me. Anyway, they make this item look 30 times better, making it sort of look like a real person, which is what you always want with jack-o'-lanterns. As, I mean, normally they're just so plain and they just look sort of boring. But this one just takes it to the next level, mimicking a real person to the extreme. And that's why this takes this pick as one of the best looking items on Roblox. It is just generally beautiful, and for the low price of 250 Robux, it is a steal. Next up, we go to 2014 with the Scary Frankenstein. Now, this was actually a card item that you got for free if you redeemed a card from 7-Eleven Canada in October. But of course, this was only in 2014. Now, this, to be honest, is probably the best looking and most accurate rendition of the Frankenstein's monster on Roblox, despite somebody being called Frankenstein. Anyhow, Frankenstein is probably one of my favorite books of all time, and favorite movies too. The original Frankenstein was just awesome, and because of that, this item takes my number 3 spot as just being one of the best looking items on Roblox. Now again, I think this item just captures the essence of Frankenstein better than most other Frankenstein items on Roblox. I think this is just the best Frankenstein item that this website has to offer. And it's a shame that you can't get it anymore. But just look at it. It has this very nice humanoid look. It even has this cool little buck tooth down here. Anyway, you had these nice bolts sticking out the side. Can't miss that. That's a nice detail to Frankenstein. And of course, it has this long sue mark on the top. Very much capturing that Frankenstein was put together artificially and was not born this way. Sorry, Frankenstein. For my number 2 pick, we actually have another Frankenstein item. This is, of course, being Gibby from iCarly. Now, I think this Franken-Gibby mask really captures the essence of what Gibby from iCarly looked like in his younger years. Again, if you couldn't tell, in a weird twist of don't sue us, Roblox actually went and made this cool sort of Gibby wearing a Frankenstein costume, which I think just looks awesome. I really think if Gibby from iCarly actually appeared in the show wearing Frankenstein makeup, he'd look exactly like this. This is just awesome, and Roblox's attention to details with this item is just really awesome and on point. The only relatively sad part about Gibby from iCarly is that it's off sale, but luckily if you look up towards the top, I actually have the very, very fortunate existence to actually own this item. I believe it was about 200 Robux when it was originally released, but sadly you cannot buy it now. So if any of you were hoping to be Gibby from iCarly, you sadly cannot do that right now. Though of course, as said towards the beginning of the video, there are so many amazing items on Roblox. And of course, everyone has different opinions, so don't be mad for my number 1 pick. After all, this is just my opinion. But for the number 1 spot, I have to go for an item I think is actually pretty commonly believed. At least it was commonly believed in the Let's Make a Deal forums and the trading community to be the greatest item on Roblox. Just the best looking item on Roblox. Just the most beautiful item on Roblox. I am of course speaking of the one, the only, Oozing Oscar. Now Oozing Oscar is a pretty classic item, dating all the way back to 2009. And since then it's become so well known that it's actually appeared as a prominent mascot in certain games. Also made appearances as mini enemies on classic Roblox zombie games, just making Oozing Oscar a very, very classic Roblox icon, especially around 2010 to 2011. When worn in game, you see the full experience of Oozing Oscar. It has these 2 nice eyes with very white pupils on the side that very, very much bring out Oozing Oscar. Of course, if you look on the sides and all around it, it has this very nice sort of puke green texture, which really, really enhances the sort of feel that Oozing Oscar is going for, and really makes this item look a lot better than it really should be. But of course, the main event of Oozing Oscar is its amazingly high detailed mouth, and that is one thing that really makes a lot of people believe this is the best looking item on Roblox. Now of course, the probably main thing about its mouth is its amazing tongue. Its tongue is just so nice and long. Just think of all the stuff it can lick with that thing. It could probably reach a lollipop from a mile away. I mean, with that, it may be able to reach its own kneecap. Can you believe that? No, wait on a second. Can't we actually all do that? Yeah, on a second recap, how about its head? Oozing Oscar may be able to lick its own head. Can you believe that? I don't think there's anyone in the world that can do that. All in all, it's really a shame because Oozing Oscar is another item that's not for sale. But again, I'd say honestly, Oozing Oscar should stay off sale just so its beauty can be preserved forever and no more new noobs can get a hold of it, because I think that would honestly ruin it. But Gibby from iCarly on the other end, I think that should go back on sale because I think everyone should have the opportunity to wear Gibby from iCarly. So do you agree with my list? Tell me below in the comments if you do which item you thought was the most beautiful. Maybe you like Gibby from iCarly more than Oozing Oscar. I mean, partially I think I do, but hey. Maybe you're just a simple peasant who likes the sparkle time fedoras over such beautiful items as Oozing Oscar and of course Gibby from iCarly. Anyhow, your opinion is very much respected, but it is 100% wrong. Gibby from iCarly and Oozing Oscar are the clear winners of the most beautiful items in Roblox. Gibby, I love you so much.